What's the most historically accurate battle scene in cinema? And my answer? There isn't one. You've seen it 1,000 times. The hero unsheathes their katana, it cuts through things like butter. A knight swings a massive longsword, barely able to lift it. Flaming arrows rain from the sky, igniting everything they touch. It's spectacular, it's memorable, and almost none of it is true. Today on Iron Registry, we're examining weapons that cinema got completely wrong. We're documenting the real history behind Hollywood's weapon myths. So buckle up, because we're about to ruin some of your favorite action scenes. Before we begin, we need to establish one thing. Hollywood does not get weapons wrong because filmmakers are ignorant. They get them wrong because cinema has different priorities than history. Real weapons evolved to solve specific problems. They were built to defeat armor, to control formations, to survive long campaigns, and to dominate difficult terrain. Movies operate under different rules. They need visual clarity. They need individual heroes. They need moments that photograph well, and scenes that edit cleanly. So what you see on screen is not a lie, it is a translation. And like all translations, something essential is lost. What follows is not a criticism of movies, it is a correction of the historical record. Because when we understand what these weapons actually did, we better understand the people who used them. Before we continue, a quick question. Which weapon do you think Hollywood gets most wrong? Let's start with the weapon that might be the most mythologized in all of cinema, the katana. In Hollywood's version, the katana is the ultimate blade. It cuts through armor, stone, even other swords. It's presented as if samurai walked onto battlefields with nothing but their katana and sheer willpower. Here's what actually happened. The katana was a sidearm, a backup weapon. On the actual battlefield, samurai relied on yumi longbows, yari spears, naginata polearms, and later Tanegashima firearms. The katana came out when everything else had failed. Why? Because the katana was designed for a very specific purpose, cutting through unarmored or lightly armored opponents with precise technique. Against heavy armor, limited effectiveness. Against shields, problematic. Against massed pike formations, you wouldn't even get close.
The blade itself, while beautifully crafted, was made from tamahagane steel, which is relatively low in carbon. This made it sharp and flexible, but also meant it could chip or even break against harder materials. Samurai knew this. That's why they practiced techniques that avoided edge-to-edge contact. The katana's real effectiveness came from three things: exceptional technique, perfect timing, and choosing the right context to use it. What Hollywood missed? By showing katanas in isolation, by removing them from the complete weapon system samurai actually used, films transformed a specialized cultural weapon into a magical supersword. It's the equivalent of showing a Navy SEAL using only his sidearm for an entire mission. Technically impressive? Absolutely. Historically representative? Not even close.
In Hollywood, the crossbow is usually a joke. It's depicted as slow and clumsy, a villain's weapon. They literally call it the coward's weapon. But historically, the crossbow was one of the most revolutionary and politically disruptive technologies in medieval Europe. Here is the math that scared kings. Training a longbowman took a lifetime, starting from childhood. Training a crossbowman, that took weeks, maybe days. And that novice crossbowman could kill a knight. Think about the weight of that. For centuries, armored cavalry dominated the battlefield. These were expensive, elite warriors who had spent their entire lives preparing for war. Then, a peasant with a few weeks of practice could delete that investment from 100 meters away. It didn't just change tactics, it broke the social order. It was so threatening that in 1139, the Pope condemned it, banned it. The ban was almost universally ignored, which tells you everything about how effective crossbows actually were. At close range, it punched through plate armor. It was more accurate than a bow, and crucially, it could be held ready, loaded, and waiting, devastating for ambushes. What Hollywood missed. Films obsess over reload speed, which was genuinely slower, but they ignore the strategic reality. The crossbow democratized lethal force. It made the professional warrior vulnerable to the common soldier. That's not a minor plot point. That is a fundamental shift in how power worked. If you're enjoying so far, hit that like button.
Picture the standard movie henchman. He's holding a spear. He looks nervous, and the moment the hero charges in with a sword, that spearman is gonna die. Hollywood has trained us to view the spear as the beginner weapon, cheap, disposable, and easily beaten by skill. This is completely backwards. If spears are so easy to beat, why every empire using them since the Bronze Age? For 3,000 years, the spear wasn't the budget option, it was the winning option. In the hands of a competent soldier, a spear doesn't just beat a sword, it humiliates it. The advantage isn't just reach, it's the kill zone. A spearman can end your life from 6 feet away. As a swordsman, you have to cross a 6-foot gap of instant death just to get close enough to start fighting.
One-on-one, it's a nightmare. But in a group, it's a math problem you can't solve. Enter the phalanx, the shield wall, the pike square. When spears overlap, they turn warfare into geometry. You aren't fighting one person, you're fighting a prickly hedge of steel. This is why everyone from Alexander the Great to the Vikings to the samurai used the spear as their primary weapon. The sword was just a sidearm, the pistol you drew only after your rifle ran out of ammo. So why does Hollywood usually hate the spear? Because spears might win wars, but they aren't made for the screen. They don't allow dynamic choreography, and you lose the rhythmic, metallic thunder of a sword fight. However, there are exceptions. This scene from the movie 300, for all its historical fantasy, that famous slow-motion tracking shot of Leonidas actually gets the mechanics right. But usually, cinema seeks the spectacle. The battlefield sought the win. The spear didn't dominate the world through drama. It dominated through the simple, brutal fact that the guy with the longest reach usually goes home alive.
So, here is the million-dollar question. Why? Why, when we have centuries of manuals and legions of historians screaming from the sidelines, does Hollywood keep getting it wrong? Because Hollywood sells a fantasy of the individual. In the movies, the weapon is a character trait. It's an extension of the hero's soul. It makes them special. But history? History is about the system. Real warfare wasn't about a chosen one with a magic sword. It was about logistics, formation, fatigue, engineering. A weapon wasn't a personality test. It was a tool designed to solve a specific, brutal problem in a specific environment. When movies strip these weapons of their context, we lose something important. We stop seeing the actual ingenuity of our ancestors. We trade their survival struggles for a cheap action beat. The truth is actually cooler than the fiction. The katana wasn't a lightsaber. It was a specialized scalpel for unarmored flesh. The crossbow wasn't a villain's tool. It was a technological revolution that leveled the playing field. And the spear? It wasn't NPC loot. It was the undisputed king of the battlefield for 3,000 years. Now I want to hear from you. Which myth did you believe the longest? Or is there a specific weapon, like the European longsword or the Viking axe, that you know Hollywood is butchering right now? Head down to the comments. I read them all, and your debates usually decide what we throw into the forge next. This is Iron Registry. Let's keep the history sharp.